11:05 p.m., November 18, 2025. Orenburg, Russia. The $15 billion gas plant that funds Putin's war machine is burning to the ground. This fire is no accident. It's a message, delivered just as Washington tables a new peace deal demanding Kyiv's disarmament. This inferno is Ukraine's counteroffer. They just proved that the most powerful negotiating tactic isn't a diplomat's signature. It's the ability to reach out over 1,000 miles and turn your enemy's main source of cash into a smoking crater. This isn't just a story about an attack. Deep inside what Moscow considered untouchable territory, a faint, intermittent signal appeared. Then it vanished. A glitch. A flock of birds. The operator of the mighty S-400 air defense system stationed to protect the Orenburg gas plant dismissed it. His Big Bird acquisition radar, a piece of hardware designed to track ballistic missiles from 500 miles away, wasn't built to worry about Siberian weather patterns. That was mistake number one. This was no weather phenomenon. It was the Phantom Wolf pack. 28 Ukrainian drones flying a brutal nap-of-the-earth profile just 50 feet off the snow-covered ground, launched by special forces disguised as local partisans near Kursk. This was an airborne insurgency, and it was exploiting a simple, brutal piece of physics. The Russians forgot the Earth is round. Flying this low, the drones were tucked deep inside the planet's curvature, in a radar shadow miles below the S-400's lowest beam. Every mile flown isn't just a violation of airspace, it's a direct challenge to the peace terms being drafted in Washington. That peace deal demands Kyiv's disarmament, and the Orenburg plant, this $15 billion ATM that funds 25% of Putin's war, is exactly the kind of strategic asset Moscow wants protected under that deal. This mission isn't just about blowing something up, it's about securing a seat at the negotiating table with a Molotov cocktail in hand. As the pack closes to within 50 miles, they reach the kill zone of the short-range defenses. This is the moment the entire plan pivots. The pack executes its core tactic, the decoy gambit. Suddenly, 10 decoy drones break formation. They pitch up, climbing hard from 50 feet to 500 feet in seconds. They turn on active radar enhancers, screaming electronically. On the Russian scopes, 10 small plastic drones instantly bloom into the radar signature of 10 massive Su-25 attack jets. Inside the Pantsir S-1 command vehicle, the radar screen lights up like a Christmas tree. The continuous lock tone screams in the operator's headset. He doesn't hesitate. A ripple of 4 57E6 missiles kicks off the rails, screaming away at nearly 3,000 miles per hour in the blink of an eye. Now watch the AI try to fight physics. As the missiles close in, the decoys execute violent evasion maneuvers. The lead drone dives, trying to break the radar lock. It works for a split second. The first missile overshoots, exploding harmlessly in the clouds. But you can't outrun math forever. The second missile anticipates the turn. Its proximity fuse detonates 5 meters from the drone. The blast wave shreds the plastic frame instantly. No fire, just a cloud of debris raining down. The Russian commander smells blood. He switches tactics, engage with cannons. 3 Pantsir systems open up with their 30mm dual autocannons. That sound tears the air apart. We're talking about 5,000 rounds per minute, a literal chainsaw of tungsten and steel sweeping across the sky. The decoys are nimble, but they aren't invincible. One drone flies straight into the stream of tracers. It simply vanishes in a puff of black smoke. Another loses a wing, spiraling down out of control. Within 30 seconds, 7 of the 10 decoys are burning wrecks on the Siberian snow. The AI is buying time with its life. The Russians are cheering. They see explosions, they see targets falling. They launch their final salvo of missiles to finish off the last 3 stubborn survivors. However, while the Russians are focused on the slaughter above, they are missing the silent killers right under their noses. Down in the weeds, just 50 feet off the ground, the 18 Bober 3 attack drones, each packing a brutal 90-pound mix of high explosive and thermobaric punch, do something brilliant. They throttle down. They drop their speed to just 60 miles per hour, hugging the tree line. Here's the physics lesson. Pulse Doppler radars like the ones on the Pantsir rely on speed to separate a moving target from the ground. It's called the Doppler notch. By flying slow and low, the Bober 3s essentially stop moving on the Russian radar screens. To the distracted operator, Focusing on the high-speed chaos above, these drones look like trees blowing in the wind. Back in the air, the last decoy takes a direct hit. Boom! A massive fireball. The sky is clear. The Russian commander wipes sweat from his forehead. Targets destroyed, he reports. But then he looks at his ammo counter. 0. A Pantsir S-1 only carries 12 missiles. Reloading takes 20 minutes of hard labor outside the vehicle. The gatekeepers are holding empty guns and 18 fully armed Bober 3 attack drones just slip past the gate at 60 miles per hour. The trap is sprung. The silence over the snow-covered steppe lasts exactly 4 seconds. That is the time for the Russian gunners to lower their smoking barrels, believing they have won. But then the radar operator screams. The 18 Bober 3 drones, having used the decoys to mask their approach, suddenly drop their stealth profile. They throttle up, engines screaming from a whisper to a roar, popping up from the tree line to strike altitude at 200 feet. They are now inside the perimeter. The Russian commander realizes the horror. His missile tubes are empty. He has one card to play. He screams into the radio, "Kruzhuka, full power, burn them all!" The Kruzhuka 4 electronic warfare system, a truck-sized beast parked near the gas plant, slams into overdrive. It blasts out a broadband barrage, a digital tsunami of noise jamming every frequency from GPS L1 to Starlink's Q-band. In Kyiv, the operator screens go black. Video lost. Control link severed. The Russians think they just blinded the pilots. But they made a fatal miscalculation. They assumed there were no pilots. The moment the link cuts, the Bober 3s don't drift or crash, they switch to terminal autonomy. Their onboard NVIDIA Jetson modules, basically the brain of a self-driving Tesla, stop looking for satellites and start looking at the ground. They engage in optical terrain matching. They are reading the landmarks like a human driver reading street signs. You can jam a radio signal, but you can't jam the ground. The swarm keeps coming, completely immune to the electronic storm. Now it's down to brute force. Plan B is lead. Every soldier with a rifle, every heavy machine gun nest, and 2 Zu-23 anti-aircraft cannons open fire. The air around the gas plant turns into a meat grinder. It is a literal wall of 23mm high explosive and 5.45mm tracer rounds. This isn't a movie where the hero is invincible. The Bober 3s are big, slow targets. The lead drone takes a 23mm shell directly to its fuel tank. It doesn't just fall, it vaporizes in midair, turning into a fireball that tumbles harmlessly into the snow. A second drone gets its wing sheared off by concentrated machine gun fire, spiraling uncontrollably into a power line tower. A third is simply shredded by the sheer volume of lead. 15 drones left, then 12. It looks like a suicide run, but this is swarm logic in action. The lead drones are programmed to die. They maintain straight, predictable flight paths to draw the gunner's attention. While the Russians are busy shooting the easy targets, the remaining drones execute a synchronized pincer maneuver. They split hard left and right, flanking the facility to hit from the gunner's blind spots. The Russian crews try to traverse their heavy cannons, but they can't track multiple targets attacking from 3 different vectors at 100 miles per hour. The defense collapses under the weight of too many problems to solve at once. The surviving Bober 3 drones emerge from the smoke of their fallen comrades. They are now inside the dead zone, too close for missiles, too fast for human reflexes. On the ground, the Russian defense disintegrates into panicked improvisation. The commander of the facility, realizing his electronic shield has failed, screams a final desperate order. "Small arms! Everything! Shoot into the air!" Terror. It is a scene of absolute madness. Security guards and conscripts spill out of the bunkers. They raise AK-74s, hunting rifles, and even flare guns firing blindly into the dark sky. It looks less like a military defense and more like a riot, but quantity has a quality of its own. The air above the plant becomes a solid wall of 5.45mm lead. Drone number 12 is the first to fall in this final gauntlet. A lucky spray of rifle fire from a rooftop sniper punches through its lithium-ion battery pack. The drone doesn't explode, it simply dies. The power cuts instantly and the 440-pound machine becomes a dumb brick, tumbling out of the sky and smashing into the pavement just 50 yards short of a storage tank. A cheer goes up from the Russian defenders. They think they can stop this. But the AI inside the remaining drones reacts instantly. The swarm mind detects the density of fire coming from the rooftops. It recalculates. The drones drop even lower, descending to 20 feet, literally street level. They are now flying between the buildings, using the massive gas tanks themselves as shields against the Russian gunfire. The Russian Zu-23 anti-aircraft gunners are helpless. They can't depress their barrels low enough to shoot at street level without hitting their own men. They're forced to watch the gray shapes zip past them like oversized hornets. However, flying at street level brings new risks. One drone attempts to bank around a distillation tower at 60 miles per hour. It clips a high-tension power cable. The carbon fiber wing shears off. The drone spins violently, cartwheeling into the side of an administrative building. The warhead fails to detonate, but the kinetic impact collapses the wall. The distance is now measured in yards. Suddenly, a Russian BTR-82 armored personnel carrier roars around a corner, blocking the main service road. Its 30mm cannon is